So last video, Jared sent away my cluster gauge to get a little makeover, and we just got it back. So let's take a look. It is beautiful. Stu sent us some pictures and it looks amazing. We can't wait to show you what it looks like. So before Jared does the installation, we just want to do a little shout out to Will. He's our local Supra owner and car enthusiast. He got us super cool wedding gifts. So he customized the center console trim with our Riide logo. Can't wait to install those too.
So that's awesome. Big shout out to Will. Thanks, man.
So without further ado, let's get this going.
Alright guys, so like Amanda said, we got the cluster back. There it is. So Stu Hagen got it done, did a phenomenal job, sent it back. We actually got it back really quick. His turnaround time is awesome. But we got this, but before we put it back in, I've had a couple of you ask how to take out the last two panels on the dash. So we did the panels up here to get the cluster gauge out, but I've had a couple people ask about these two, the one that's right here in the center console and the one with the HVAC and your stereo. So honestly, it's more of the same. So finding the corners and just popping them out of those clips, that's literally all you have to do. With these, just be very, 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 well, with all of them, be very, very careful when you do it. Don't force anything. A lot of these panels have now been discontinued, so if you break one, good luck finding it. And if you do, it's going to be a pretty penny. So what you'll want to do is pop out this one first, because it's sitting on top of the one with the HVAC. So what I do is I'll take where the shifter boot is, I'll put my fingers in there because you can kind of get that edge, and pop it up there first. And then you kind of, as you pop it up, you just kind of work your way to the next clip and just start popping them up on every corner. And so what you'll want to do is, now it's loose, so you can get underneath it if you just need to work with something underneath it, or if you want to take it completely off, just unscrew your shift knob and the boot pulls right up over that, and then you'll have everything open on the center console. There is a light that's attached to the I don't know, the cigarette. Yeah, it looks like the ashtray. There's a little light there, so you can disconnect the plug there, and that pulls right out. But once you have that popped off, now it's not on top of this panel with the stereo. So same thing, just find the corner and start slowly prying it away. I start where the keyhole is. And there you go. So now it's completely loose. So the only thing that you'd have to do after that is the HVAC is connected to that panel, so it's bolted to the panel, so you just have to reach in the back and just pop those plugs off. I also have the boost gauge on there, so you'd have to unplug that. But other than that, oh, and the cigarette lighter. So, or if you have the clock there, you'd have to undo the clock. The cigarette lighter has a couple wires that are just slid on there. Just pull those right out. Just kind of take a look at where all the plugs are and the wires are, and just kind of remember. It's pretty easy, but that's it. So unplug everything that's on the back, and this whole panel just pulls right off, and that's it. And then to put them back in, same thing, just go reverse of that order. Kind of get this one out of the way. But you want to put your stereo panel back in first, and then your center console goes on top of that, and that's it. So now let's get that cluster gauge back in so Ruby can glow beautiful again. Okay, so before we start, the reason I did this is because I have a lot of people compliment me on my my cluster gauge, the LEDs on my cluster gauge in the 97 in Clyde. And a lot of people ask me, oh, where did he get it done? How do you do that? I tell them about Stu Hagen. You know, he does, I don't know which Supra he hasn't done the LED conversion to. But I just wanted to do this to show people that it's really, really a lot simpler than you think. So a lot of people that ask about it say, oh, I don't know much about the dash, I don't want to mess with it, but I wanted to show everyone just how easy it is, where there's literally 9 screws that you can take out with the screwdriver, and the rest is just pull clips, and you can have an incredible Stu Hagen LED conversion. So it's super, super simple. But okay, so let's start. So the first thing you want to do is recognize the furthest back item, which is going to be the cluster gauge itself. So that's going to go on first. Since it's the furthest back and we stack everything on top, that's what you want to start with. So let's get this mounted. Remember, there's the 3 plugs that go along the back side of it. So we're going to get those in first. And there you go. So everything's plugged in. Now you just have to flip it over, and it'll literally fall into place. You don't have to search for the right spot. It literally fits in one spot. You line it up with the holes, the bolt holes, and you put them in. And honestly, there are 4 screws that hold the cluster in place. And I won't lie, I lost one of them in the last video. So we have 3 today. So I have 2 screws I need to replace. The one that goes up here, and now one that goes in the cluster, but we'll do that later on. It's so easy to get to them that I'll just replace it later. Once again, the 4 screws, there's the 2 on the outside, those wings out there, and then there's one to the left side, the bottom left side of the tack, and the bottom right side of the tack. And there you have it. The cluster is in, down 1 screw, but still sits very, very solid. So now that you have that, you just start pushing those panels back on. And I took these panels off, so I'm going to put these back on real quick down here. And as you can see, as I go along, these panels are literally just push in. Just make sure they're lined up and you feel like it's going into those tabs. And you just lightly push in, and it'll almost suck in on its own. You don't have to force anything. Remember, don't force anything on these panels. But those are all now pushed in on those 2. Like I said in the last video, I took off this full left-hand side. That's it. Push, push, done, done. So now, kind of look at it again and say, okay, what's the next layer? What do I need? So it's the trim. So the trim that goes around the faces themselves looks like it's the next one that goes on. So same thing with this one. It has these tabs right here, if you can see them. So there's 2 tabs here and 2 tabs on the outside. And you just have to kind of locate them on the dash. Make sure you're lining it up with those. And that's done. You're almost done. And before I did that, the whole dash was literally in pieces. But you're almost done. It looks so good already. So the last piece, so there's only one more piece. So maybe a tricky piece. I mean, maybe the trickiest, but it's still super simple. Tricky because it has a couple plugs. But, which reminds me, which I just noticed I did wrong. When you put these 2 panels in, make sure you grab the plugs that you need, and make sure it doesn't go behind these panels when you push them in. I have lost the plugs, I can already see it. So you can go back and pull the plugs in, which is what I'm going to have to do now. Okay, so luckily I was able to actually just fish them out. So now I have them. So there's the 1 plug on the left side, and I have the 2 plugs on the right hand side. So you want to just kind of feed this over the steering column and set it there while you get it all plugged in. Now that's ready, and you can already see the lights coming on with the door that's open. So with this one, it is kind of tricky, I've found. Sometimes I get it right on the first try. Other times I have to pull it out and push it in, pull it out. But you kind of slide it up on an angle so it goes up in. And you can kind of see, so if you look on the bezel, I guess you could say, the trim for the faceplate, or for the faces, on the top there's two little notches that these brackets, or these little slots, are going to go into. So you can kind of guide them up into that, and then that should help you get it right into place. And there you go. So now all you have are the 5 screws. I have 4 that screw this up into the top part of this, and you're done. So let's get that put in. And that's it. You are literally finished. And that is your only tool. All right, and that is it. So if you have a screwdriver and maybe half hour, just so you take your time and don't break anything, you can pull your whole cluster gauge out and do whatever you want to it. If you just want to change the light bulbs to a different color in the background, great. You can get to the backside, pop all the bulbs out, and change it to little LED bulbs. If you want to send it to Stu Hagen, which I recommend, he charges a great price. The turnover is quick, and the product is just phenomenal. All right, so let's see how it looks. It's kind of bright out right now. I'm going to start it up just so we get an idea. Kind of hard to see in this light. So we have the custom blue needles, and they're TRD gauges. So this one revs up to the 10,000 RPMs. The speedo is up to 200 miles per hour. And then instead of the kilometers per hour, we have the Supra emblem there. So kind of a custom setup. The blue needle with the white numbers looks so good at night. So what I'll do is once it gets a little bit darker, I'll come out and film it with that. So now we have the blue needles, blue boost gauge, blue HVAC, so everything's pretty much matching in Ruby. Alright you guys, so here it is darker, so I wanted to show you, let's shut that door. I wanted to show you the cluster gauge when it's dark. Turned out, it's kind of, it doesn't look, through the camera the colors aren't as crisp. I don't know why, I don't know how you can adjust that, but it looks so good. Oh, I love it. So there you have it. There is a Stu Hagen LED conversion cluster gauge. And this is actually the HVAC done by, it's similar to what Stu Hagen has done. It might have been a Stu Hagen one. It was already done in blue when we got it. So Stu might have done this, but he does both. He'll do the cluster gauge, and then if you send him the HVAC, he'll do all that as well. But that's it for today. Hopefully more of you guys will try this and get that LED conversion for your cluster gauges. It makes a huge difference. I love it. For an update on Clyde, the wide body is coming soon. So we're actually working on a few things right now to where you might see something in place here in the next week or two. So keep an eye out. In the next couple videos, you might see some updates on that, or potentially an almost finished product. So keep an eye out for that. If you like this video, give me a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see anything else. Hopefully I see more of these Stu Hagen dash LED conversions after this. So maybe send me pictures if you guys try it. Let me know if you guys have tried it and realize how easy it is. So until that wide body video, I'll see you then.